I am having a fabulous conversation with Shirley Jo Finney, actress, director, who is in Santa Barbara working with 10 gifted young actors in the UC Santa Barbara Theater Dance Department. And they are working on I can't wait to see this play, an amazing work. It's called In the Red and Brown Water. It's part of a trilogy of plays by MacArthur Fellow Terrell McCraney. Did I pronounce his name right?
Yes, Terrell McCraney, yes.
Great, okay. The play is running February 27th through March 7th at the Hatland Theater on the UCSB campus. Tickets are dirt cheap, 17 bucks general, 13 bucks for students and probably old folks like me. And the telephone number for all of you in Southern California. By the way, the theater department at UCSB is really quite extraordinary. I just saw a brilliant performance of The Importance of Being Earnest. This is going to be quite a different journey, I think. The telephone number to call for tickets is in the 805 area code. Telephone number is 893-2064. And again, I am here with Shirley Jo Finney, and we're going to talk about In the Red and Brown Water. Let's kind of, if we can, in these maybe 15 minutes we have together, can you give me a little overview of the story idea of this play?
Well, according to Terrell McCraney, he has written a story that takes old myths that we know and has recreated with an urban a new urban mythology, combining two cultures, the Yerma and the Oba, that derives out of the Yoruba religion that originates in uh, West Africa and Nigeria. And it is a religion that, as I said, touches each of the borders of the Caribbean, in Catholicism, when the slaves couldn't practice their religion, they used Catholicism and saints. So when you're praying to Saint, Saint Joseph or Francis, have been one of the Orishas, and the Orishas are like deities. So the one way to understand this, if you've studied Greek mythology or understand that they're the gods, and in that pantheon they have so many gods. In the Oba, there's so many gods in that pantheon. So that's how people go, well, I don't understand, I'm confused. I use that to then set them in a framework which they can understand the ritual of the theater.
Yes, and we broke up just a little bit, but just if I can kind of summarize what I think you were saying, myths and beliefs and gods and goddesses are universal in all of world culture, and
Right.
and we're speaking of these.
Hey,
Go
well,
ahead.
taking the ancient myths that we all know and then creating a new and telling them with new urban ones. And like, he's a myth maker, as all writers are, and he's such a prolific poet. That and the only stories are about how we navigate the world and try to understand ourselves, whether that story is in theater or film. That's why we have artists, and that's why they're here.
And this is quite a journey for these 10 young actors, isn't it? It's a matter of understanding what you've just described, and then also helping an audience to be a participant in this
Yes.
ritual, really.
Well, right, exactly. One of what's so beautiful and unique about McCraney's writing in these trilogies, that he invites the audience not to forget that they're in the theater, that the first theater was in the round. It was like in the amphitheater with the Greeks, that we sat down in circle to have these stories. And so what he does is he uses the device of audience direct. So the actors tell to the audience in telling them or their stage directions. So they also speak the stage directions as they do the action. So you are in conversation and the audience is in conversation and telling the story. And
That,
so with
yeah.
these, what I was going to say is when I first did this play was at the Fountain Theater in
Hmm.
Los Angeles, and it ran for 5 months and won every
Wow.
award that you can think of, the drama critics, the
Oh,
yeah, the LA Ovation, and it was a phenomenal success, and it was it was a phenomenal success. And at that time, it was an all African American cast. And so when I was invited to come up to Santa Barbara to do a residency and to do a show, they asked if I mind, doing Red, Brown, Water. And what I loved is that the student population lent itself to the Yoruba and I mean the Yerma and the Oba. So I had both cultures that now I can, and that was exciting for me to see how that played out on stage. Um, and and part of the research and exploration and us being in an academic situation, we could as a cast, as an ensemble, explore both cultures and as an approach to the piece. And so we dealt with, which is true, is the gods, both in the Greek culture and in this culture. We have the nature of the gods within. So we had to understand with what each of these orishas on their altar represented, because we might have the Shango warrior spirit. We might have Oya, who is the god that controls the wind, tornadoes, hurricanes, the breath of life. Her mother, which is Yema, is over the oceans. So each of the gods represent a nature of man. And so that was the discovery that what is it when we are in our light? And then what's the nature of us when we're in our shadow? So that was exciting to explore that with
May
the kids.
may I step in and just suggest, in other words, it's a diverse cast. It is not an African American cast. It is a diverse cast, is it?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And that also is going to be a great experience for these young actors. And you've just
And plus it's age appropriate for them because the cast members were young. You know what I'm saying? When I did it in Los Angeles, we had older actors, and between 27 and 32. We have the population here is between 18 and 22, and the play it's about young people that live in the projects in a fictitious place called Saint Pierre. And so they're on the bayou. And so you have this cross culture anyway. So it's lovely to look on that stage and see that cross culture happening on stage.
give me a tiny brief overview of the storyline so that the audience can have an idea of what they're going to experience.
Well, it's about Oya, who is the god of breath of life. And it's about her transformation of healing. We follow this young lady who has the world and dreams all before her. Um, and her ticket out is the her scholarship as a track runner. And when her mother falls ill, she has to not go to the college and get the scholarship. So there's a lost dream there because she opts the choices, and that's one thing about the religion is there's no right or wrong in our world, which is true. We have choices, and there's no judgment on that choices. But every decision you make, right, is the response. You take responsibility for that decision. And so she has her loss of her mother. She has the loss of the dream to pursue her dream, and then she's stuck in her 6 square blocks. And what that does to the human soul, and you know that if you couldn't do what you wanted to do in life, or you couldn't follow your dream, it would damage your soul, because you must have free expression. That's all that we all want out of life is free expression for ourselves. So we watch her, this light this young woman's light dim
Oh.
and get stuck, and she has to go within and take this journey to find who she is in herself in realization, to come out and then make the choice to let go and then pursue her dream.
And this is a story that certainly strikes home for a lot of young college students. There are all
Yes.
kinds of challenges to pay for your tuition. A parent becomes ill, on and on. So it's a very very topical idea. And I understand all of these gods that are referred to and referenced in the religions that we've been speaking to. It's a little tough for Westerners, but the point is, lots of color is associated with lots of these gods. Tell me how you're going to use that in terms of lighting design or what for the play.
Well, it all when the audience comes in, it's creating this ritual space for the storytelling. So there's like a minimal set, and everything is in light to give you place time. It's time space continuum. And it's not hard. If you look at color, you see this red, and all red represents in different things in different cultures. Red represents the blood, life, passion. Blue represents healing. White is cleansing. Purple is royalty. So when you say each of those deities, no, everybody, we have those in all our myths, which is wonderful. Joseph Campbell says there's only one myth and a variation off that. And so I kind of want to hesitate to say, no, this everybody will understand it because it's the human experience. When you talk about lost dreams and you talk about self-realization, that's worldwide. That transcends anything. When you talk about colors, that's universal. Like I said to the kids, emotions don't see color, right? Emotions are universal. You don't have to speak the language of another man to understand that man. And that's the beauty of what we do in theater.
Oh, that was absolutely brilliant. May I congratulate you on that wonderful statement? And speaking of ambitions, may I ask what kind of what is your story? What sparked your interest in becoming an actress and a director?
Well, unlike many people, I never started out to be an actress. I didn't start that pursuit was well, I guess that was by crosswords. That was my destiny and I didn't know it. It wasn't until I was an undergraduate in school and because I was going into creative writing and someone introduced me and said they needed an actress in the theater arts department and an actress of color. And so I did it and I loved it because who would not want to be seen. And so I ended up getting my MFA from UCLA. And then I had a very wonderful career as an actress. I think one of the main things that people remember me for is years ago I did a film that was Denzel Washington's first film called Wilma. I played the lead role. Cecily Tyson played my mother. He played my boyfriend. And it was Wilma Rudolph, who was the first woman to win 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympics. And so I went on and had a reoccurring role in Hill Street Blues, and I did the theater scene. And then I made a transition into directing, and I did stage, and then I directed several episodes of Moesha television in 2000. And then I went and decided that I love directing, and so probably have performed and directed at the Goodman Theater, the Actors Theater of Louisville, Crossroads Theater, the Mark Taper Forum, Kirk Douglas, all over the country in 2011. I even went to South Africa and directed an opera on Winnie Mandela. So,
Woo!
yes.
Woo! Wow. Well, did you get all those credits, folks? I mean, this is enough to get you to get in the car and come on up to Santa Barbara for this run.
Exactly. I advise you to because we have in the ritual, there's a cappella singing, there's dancing. It's a play, but the ritual of all of that it encompasses. And these 10 young, beautiful performers have dropped down into a deeper voice and
Mm.
are just having a transformation as artists as well as lifting that stage up. And so I invite all of you to come and experience this with them.
Wow.
Support.
Wow. Well, listen, that has been, we're trying to keep this within about 15 minutes. That has been, and I have had really in these few minutes an absolutely exciting, invigorating conversation with you. Thank you so much, Shirley Jo Finney,
Thank
director.
you.
Let
I
me go.
can't wait to meet you in person.
Well, good. Well, me too. And let me just run through the details one last time, and then we'll call it an interview.
Okay.
The play is In the Red and Brown Water by Terrell McCraney, who is a MacArthur Fellow playwright.
Yes.
The run of this, no doubt, exciting and wonderful play that we're going to see runs from February 27th through March 7th at the wonderful, I've been going to the Hatland Theater on the UCSB campus since I was in high school. It's just a magnificent theater at UCSB. This is the UCSB Theater Dance Department, and tickets are, as I said earlier, dirt cheap, 17 bucks, 13 bucks. You can't go wrong on ticket prices. You can't complain about the tickets being too expensive. And the phone number once again for this wonderful play, In the Red and Brown Water, running February 27th through March 7th, is area code 805 in Santa Barbara. Telephone number for the ticket box office at the Hatland Theater, 893-2064. May I thank you, Shirley Jo, a million times. I can't wait to meet you. Your energy alone has just taken the airwaves and stirred them all up, something fierce.
Right? Oya in the air.
There you go. Thanks for also for clarifying so many things for me.
Okay.
A great
Thank
pleasure.
you. Come on, everybody. Come see
Okay.
us.
Great pleasure
Bye.
talking with you. Bye bye.
Uh-huh.